All right, we're here with another stop on the SAC Digital Media Tour. We're going to talk today with head coach of Tusculum, Billy Taylor. Coach, thanks for taking some time.
My pleasure. It's a real pleasure to talk with you.
So, what is it about the state of Tennessee? Like, you just find yourself, your whole career, it seems like you've been a head coach at various universities in Tennessee, Tennessee Tech, East Tennessee. You played there, coached there forever. Now you find yourself at Tusculum.
It's crazy. Whenever I got the job at my press conference, I said, uh, I live 35 minutes from Tusculum University, and it took me 35 years to get here. You know, it's just one of those things where when I was a young coach, I was coaching at Wofford College for Mike Ayers down there, and this was in 1991. And whenever I signed up for a retirement plan, I mean, I'm a young guy, and asked everybody what in the world I should do. And everybody said, hey, no matter what you do, don't go into state retirement because you never know where you'll be. So I never did that. And doggone it, I wish I had been in the Tennessee state retirement system because I've got about 27 years, at 4 different schools or whatever. So I made a mistake there, obviously, but I'm glad to be here. I grew up in Morristown, Tennessee, which is about 35, 40 minutes from Tusculum University. Went to East Tennessee State and coached there most of my career, and have always been around Tusculum, and I always knew about Tusculum, but had never been on campus until I interviewed for the job back in December. So it's been a crazy 6 months or 8 months now, I guess, and I've found that Tusculum's a great place to be.
And I got to imagine that helps you in terms of recruiting, correct? Like you know that state like the back of your hand. So,
especially East Tennessee, everything east of Nashville, I've recruited at some time or another, and pretty much continuously ever since I was at Wofford College back in the '90s. Every place I've ever coached, as soon as I joined the staff, I'd say, "Hey, let me have East Tennessee." So I know every coach in every school, within 150-mile radius, so it's a good thing. And one thing that we're really doing, we're making a concerted effort to recruit East Tennessee. It's our own backyard, and there's a lot of good football players here, and we've got to do a really good job in state.
So let's talk about this 2024 Tusculum squad. You took over a team that went to the SAC championship game last year, came up short against Lenore-Rhine. But what does this version of Tusculum look like?
It's going to be totally different from what has been here. I was looking on our depth chart, and I've been a defensive coordinator forever, and looking at our defense from last year's team to this year's team, of the top 17 tacklers on last year's team, we have 2 back. So it's we're a new system with new players, and we're going to be inexperienced, but I think it could be a good thing that the guys that we're going to be playing with, this is going to be the system that they've learned, and should be a good thing. I'm looking at it as a positive instead of a negative. And on offense, we've gone from a offense that that was here, that threw the ball probably 75% of the time, and we're going to be doing pretty much the opposite. We're going to be running the football, running the option, making people have to defend that and know what they're doing, and throwing the play action passes off of it that can really score big. So it's going to be an exciting year, I think.
You talked about running the ball a little bit more. You got some returning preseason all-conference selections in the O-line and Garrett Priest, and then at the running back spot in Hunt there, he was voted on this year. Foundation pieces, or who knows what the preseason all-conference looks like, but you see those guys being big contributors?
Yes, I do. Both of those young men had really good springs, and I think they really enjoyed the new system that we're running. I knocked the ball out of the ballpark with my staff hires. Our offensive coordinator is a guy by the name of Wade Lang, who was the offensive coordinator at Wofford for 30 years, and was for 24 years in a row. His offense was in the top 10 in the country in running the football. And that's just unheard of, you know. So we've got a great system. We just have to find the pieces to run it. And we've been doing that, you know, in the off season and through even after spring ball, you know, trying to find the right guys for our system. And I was really shocked at the quarterbacks that we had here that were mostly throwers, that they were pretty good athletes too in the spring. And that obviously is a good thing.
You're a defensive guy. You mentioned defensive coordinator. Ernest Johnson and Jermaine Witherspoon look like they're gonna, you know, be the big players in your defensive game plan. But you know, what does the defense look like? There's more than just there's two guys on that unit. So what does that entire defense look like?
Well, actually, you know, in today's world with the transfer portal, we've lost Witherspoon. He just let us know last week that he's trying to get closer to home. He had a family situation that wasn't good, and so he has decided to stay closer to home. But Ernest Johnson had a good spring. Our defense is a linebacker heavy defense. You know, we run the 3-4. We're very multiple. You know, we believe in pressuring the offense and make them have it to execute at a high level. And so, you know, the question is going to be our back end. With losing Witherspoon, who safety, you know, in a 2 or 3 year starter at Tusculum. And we've lost all 4 of the starters from last year on the back end. But we had a young man who came with me from East Tennessee State, who's going to be our starting corner into the boundary, a young man by the name of Quinn Smith, who started on our 2021 team that was 7th in the country back at ETSU. So he's going to bring a bunch of experience and good play. And we've found some DBs in the portal that are going to come in and try to compete the second they get here. So it's going to be a very exciting spring to see how it's going to end up, you know, whenever we go down to West Alabama for that first one.
Sounds like the portal gives and the portal takes away, right? It's the dichotomy of the portal.
Absolutely.
So is that a challenge?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but you know, it's part of what we do.
Yeah, is that a challenge for you being a defensive guy, having just so much turnover from last year, or is that good because you're trying to establish a new system, a new identity?
I think it's going to be good. I'm looking at it as a positive. You know, anytime I think there's a new system for players, I think it's, you know, there's questions about it. If you've got a lot of guys, you know, that were successful and they've been successful on defense at Tusculum, you know, I wish we were more experienced, but at the same time, we believe in the system that we have. We've been successful everywhere we've been with it, and we just got to get our guys to believe in what we're doing every day, and to understand their part of it, and to take care of their job, and we'll be all right.
So you got picked 6th in the SAC preseason poll. Obviously, a lot of coaches are going to give me the same answer to the preseason poll. They don't put a lot of weight to, but it just kind of shows you where you stack up kind of middle part of the league. Does that give you a little motivation, or does that just, you know, just noise at this point?
It's just noise. You know, it's one of those things where, I mean, I haven't been around the South Atlantic Conference. I've played a couple of the teams when I was at different, you know, FCS schools. So I don't really know what we have stacks up against the other teams in our league, you know, and probably being in the middle of the pack is probably what we deserve right now, you know. So I'm really excited about the opportunity that we have, and let's just see how it falls. You know, we're going to work hard. We're going to be disciplined, and we're going to do everything we can to put our guys in a situation to be successful, and, you know, let it go from there.
Well, first year head coach, and you're starting on the road against a traditionally really, really strong Gulf South team in West Alabama. You got a challenging schedule. Looks like in the front part with Newberry, LR, Limestone as your first 3 SAC games. Looks like you got a bye there before between West Alabama and Newberry. But what's that early portion of the schedule going to look like for you guys?
Well, it's kind of murder's row, and I like the challenge of it. And the other good thing about it is we don't play anybody in our side of the division until game 5. And that's going to give us, no matter how the first 4 games wash out, that's going to give us motivation going into game 5 no matter what. And I don't want to look down the road or anything like that, because I believe you play one play at a time, one game at a time. I know it's an old cliche, but it's true. You can't let your focus shift to what's down the road. The most important game of the year for us right now is the West Alabama game, because it's first. And then after that, the next game will be the most important game of the year, and so on. So it's really, really just an exciting time for us.
Well, there you go. Exciting. Football is always exciting, right? And it's right around the corner now, finally, and we're back to football. So, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this year, and Tusculum and the fans all there the best of luck. And thank you so much for taking some time before the season starts.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Go Pioneers.